Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back. Another episode for BU Podcast, part of Super Mom's Magic Circle. And today we have a special guest. She is changing lives and she's working with single moms. I can't wait to find out more from her. So, we have a spiritual life coach who's helping single moms and parents to shift from survival mode to a life of purpose and fulfillment. And this is our beautiful Kelly, Sanctuary for the Soul. Welcome, Kelly.
Oh, you okay?
Yes, I'm really good. And I can't wait to find out more of your amazing work. And I can't wait to share with the world what you do because I know that you're all about getting results. You've been through the journey yourself, being a single mom as well. You have your beautiful boy that you're raising in a very lovely way. So you've been in my work for quite some time, and I had the chance to meet your boy as well. And I have to say, you are an amazing mom. And
Thank
what you
you.
do, it's so powerful. So please tell us more about your journey and how did you start your business?
There's a whole lot to go with that story. I could go back a long way, but the main crux I think was actually having my son was probably the main like catalyst that clicked it all into gear. So having 6 months off of maternity leave, I was meant to have 9 months, and then went back to work after being at home for that long and realized that it wasn't clicking. It didn't feel right. I just didn't want to be there anymore. Nothing felt right being there. I thought it was just to the company. I thought it was just the company I didn't like. So looked for another job, found another job, got an interview, got it, but I got messed about quite a bit in the background. Um, so I decided, it is what it is. And then went to a mind body spirit fair with a friend of mine. Had a day off. We said just before we leave, we'll find a card reader just to, for the fun of it.
Yeah.
And both picked one each. So she went to hers, I went to mine. And I wanted to know more about the job that I was going to go for, whether it was worth going for, or whether I should just turn around and go, do you know what, all the messing about, leave it, I'll stay where I am. And she was going through the reading and pretty much said, you're on track for where you need to be, you're doing what you need to be doing, which I took as, okay, I'm meant to go on that job then. She said, however, I can tell you that whatever you're doing now is not what you're going to be doing forever. Like, okay, so you're going to be working in the same area that I do, not necessarily tarot, but a spiritual job. I'm like, okay, I've only just started really getting back into my spiritual self. What is this? And she said, I can't tell you what it is, but all I can tell you is that whatever you pick, whatever you choose, what you do, you will be doing it alongside what you're doing now. And then you're going to quit what you're doing now and do the other thing full time.
Wow.
Set me on a whole like, okay, what the hell is it? What am I going to be doing? So did the usual, ask the universe what I'm meant to do. And Reiki kept coming up, so I thought, okay, I'll go down the Reiki route. Started doing that, got to level 2, but then realized this isn't going to work for me doing it as a thing. I don't want to bring people home to do it because it's my space. I can't go out in the evening anywhere because I have my son to look after, so viably it wasn't going to work. So I just kept went, okay, so what the hell am I meant to do? And on Facebook, of all things, I kept getting intro to life, spiritual life coaching things coming up on Facebook. So I looked at those and went, I don't know. I don't know if that's where I want to go. And then they disappeared. It's like, I'm not going to bother. And then they disappeared. They came off Facebook. I never saw them again. And I still couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And eventually I went, do you know what? Okay, universe, just give me a damn sign now. I'm fed up with trying to look for things. I can't figure out what it is I want to do. Just give me a damn sign. The advert started coming back up on Facebook again. And I'm like, okay, that's something I've got to look now. That's definitely a you need to go this way. We're not making it any more clearer than we need to right now. That's the route you want to go. So I was like, okay, fine. Went on the course, did the intro. Kind of wasn't sure how I was going to implement it as an intro until I looked at it properly and realized it is an intro, not the full thing. But I enjoyed it that much and I thought, do you know what? This is what I want to do. And then took the course, went into the full master course and did it and completed all of that. So. Yeah, that's like I
That's
realized
beautiful.
this is what I want to do. Helping people's what I want to do.
That's
So
beautiful. Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you for sharing that story because everyone can see how your journey started. And it's so incredible from a tarot reading and then you try the Reiki. And I really have to say that sometimes we are just so blind in not seeing the signs and you asking the universe and actually be there and looking, for signs. It's incredible. It's so lovely to hear that. So today I really, really want to go into very, very deep transformation. Let's help whoever is listening to us, whoever is watching us. I really want them to take something out from this video because you are the perfect person that I can speak with about alignment, about healing, spirituality, self care, and even more. So I really want you, if you could use very simple language
yeah.
and try to, what's your vision and what's your perspective about spirituality in general and alignment? Those are the two things I would like to touch, if that's okay.
Mm, to me, it's hard to explain on the spiritual front. I've got quite a varied spiritual background, so I've taken lots of different things from different areas. So my spiritual journey started, God, back when I was a teenager. So I've looked at Wicca, I've looked at Druidry, I've looked at shamanism, and found none of those fit. Nothing, well, I took bits from them, but not everything fits. So for me, it's spirituality is like it's a personal thing more for me. It's being in touch with you and in touch with your higher self and the universe. So and however you want to do that, because there's no set way of
Mm-hmm.
doing that. It's a very personal thing on how you do it. So I usually do it through meditation, yoga, being out in nature, uh,
Mm-hmm.
just sometimes just sitting and doing nothing and just letting your mind wander. And it's I don't have anything set per se that does it, but as long as it feels right in you, like I listen to my inner self on it. I listen to my own inner guidance. So if I've looked at it on the human design's point of view, I'm supposed to be a generator that works with sacral. So for me, it's very much if it feels right in my gut, then I know it's the right direction I'm meant to go. And I know that's different for everybody. It's just a case of tuning in and listening and asking yourself how you feel, if it feels right versus feels wrong.
Yeah, I love that. That's so much. You gave us so much value already. So absolutely, you mentioned about the higher self, and that's so great once you start to understand who you actually are, and once because everyone has that. Yes, it's in us. So this is the first steps you can take, like you mentioned about meditation, being in nature, being present. Just let your mind to calm down and just be at peace because yoga and meditation in the end is just a case of like a fresh air for your brain, right? That's beautiful. Now, this will actually lead me to my next question about alignment. How can someone start learning into aligning to their true values and to their who they actually are meant to be in this world?
From a coaching perspective, it's asking questions more than anything. It's actually asking questions and answering like what do you value? What are your main values? So an exercise I did during the course was basically sitting there and like they had a huge list of values, a massive list, and you could probably find one online somewhere. And looking at them all and seeing which ones I was drawn to first and whether they actually resonated with who I was, and then listed them all out. So I think pick five. And then after that, it was reordering them into which one you considered the most important to not say the least important, but you know, top to bottom, one to five, listing it out. And going with that, and those would mainly be your core values, the ones that your main ones that you go to. So that's kind of one step you can go to for figuring out who you are. I'm trying to think what else we've ended up doing. Um, Another one I think about for me is like chakra work's another good one for me. So I'm very, very in tune with each of my chakras. I've worked with them since, again, teenager, one of the things I looked into. So I know when mine are very much out of whack. I can feel when mine are not right. And doing Reiki adds to that because you're very more in tune when you've done Reiki as to which ones need work. So I,
Oh, please tell
I,
us more about that. So, if I'm not wrong, there are seven chakras, the main ones, and then obviously I had like 35 or from what I heard, but the
I
seven ones, yeah. So, can you please tell us more? To be honest, I mainly work with the root chakra, the throat chakra, and the third eye, the crown. Those are my main ones, just because they were the ones I had to heal a few years back, and those are the ones like I know I have to pay attention to. But please, if you can just give us a brief idea of how what they are, and obviously, yeah, tell us more about the chakras, please.
So you have seven. There's usually the root chakra, which is based just below the spine, the sacral, which is more sort of like midway, kind of like pubic bone area, solar plexus, which moves up sort of like middle of your stomach, just above around belly button area. Then you go to the heart chakra, which is obviously where your heart is, throat, third eye, and crown on the top. And each one of them works together. They're not in they all have separate things that they all work on, and they all have very different areas that they look into. So your roots very much stability, grounding. You basically feeling secure. Sacral's obviously more of your like sexuality element, and you create solar plexus is again creativity, your confidence, all that area. Heart is your love, not just for other people, but for yourself. Your throat, communication, authenticity. Third eye is your intuition, and crown is your connection to higher self. But all of them interplay with each other. So if there's a blockage in one, it causes blockages with them all. So one of the exercises I did, like or do to check to make sure that they're all working or in line, or where there might be a block, is focusing on the root one, making that feel nice and red and bright and shiny. Send some roots down to the ground. So send your energy through down to the ground, connect to the earth, and then bring that energy back up. Then ask it to go to each chakra individually. So bring each one up and bring that up. And you'll find the one that you have the most resistance as the energy goes up is the ones that you've got most blockages in. So you know which ones to then start doing some work with. And you can find meditations on different platforms. I've used Insight Timer, that's got some really good ones that you can do chakra meditations with. You can also do things like I do workbooks where you can go to each one and actually look into each one individually and find where those areas are, where those blockages are, and work on what causes those blockages. Because more often than not, it's stuff from your childhood that blocks all of those up. A little bit of what goes on now, but it's mainly all inner child work that you find all those blockages come from those, and until you face those and clear them, they'll keep repeating and keep coming back until you eventually face it. So,
It's
yeah.
beautiful, Kelly. Thank you so much. That sounds really good. So the way you said it sounds to be so simple. And everyone, please go and check this because this is like something really, really helped me a few years back when I was in a very, very bad place with fibromyalgia. I had the diagnosis. I was stuck in bed for like 3 months. I couldn't move. And for like 3 or 4 years, I was just going from doctor to doctor to find answers. And then I went to a Reiki lady and this
Mm.
is when I had panic attacks like almost on a daily basis. And then she said, like, your throat chakra, it's blocked. And it's not just that, like you have three or four chakras, like I don't know how you function. And I'm like, oh my gosh, was the first time when I could breathe. Like I felt like and
Mm.
since then, I never had a panic attack anymore. So for me, it was like magical. Like magic really happened because of Reiki and because I learned about chakras. So thank you for sharing that with us. That's beautiful. So the way you're doing it, just to make sure I understand, at the beginning when you start with the root chakra, it's a case of visualization. So you do that through visualization, and then you feel how you go like a tree, right? Because all our
Yeah,
roots
it's
go
like
in
a
the
tree.
ground.
Yeah. Yeah, creating that
Yeah.
stability because that's what that chakra's for. It's for stability. So yeah, using the energy from that chakra through your legs, down your feet, into the earth, as far
Hmm.
down as you can go. And
That's great.
then
That's amazing. And I really want to ask you about resistance because you mentioned about you feel where you need to work more. How
Mhm.
that resistance feels like for someone who never really did any hypnosis, any hypnotherapy, nothing spirituality. How can they identify that that's the resistance they need to work on?
It's kind of a feeling. It's hard to really explain. It's when you've done it once, you can obviously you get used to how that feels. For me, it's almost I'm trying to think of the best way. To me, it does just literally just feel like something blocked. Like I get a feeling in my body somewhere that just feels off. It doesn't feel right. It almost feels like there's something not physically, but spiritually, like energetically pushing against something. Like you can feel that resistance against, like you're trying to push something out, but something's pushing back. It's the
Hmm.
only way I can describe it. It's a hard way to actually try and describe it. And I guess each person feels different because I know other people will feel actual physical like pain in their body or and other ailments will come out like so you might get sore throats or you might get headaches or backache, or digestive issues. It can come out and manifest its way in very different ways depending on the person as well. So like you said, you had issues with fibromyalgia and like and speaking things, and that physical symptoms are another way of showing that you have an issue in that area. I only know
Yeah.
from an energetic point of view because I'm used to feeling it on an energetic point of view. I don't tend to go by my physical symptoms anymore because they're not really that prevalent. But
Hmm.
spiritually, I can feel it.
And that's the beauty of it because as soon as I starting going more into the energetics and learning about the alignment, this is when I realized that this resistance that we are talking about, and you describe it beautifully. So thank you for sharing that. It's a case for me at least, feels really heavy, feels really is draining and really, really I can even see it in colors sometimes, like
Mhm.
black or gray or it's just that heaviness and that is really uncomfortable and it's just I feel like something is pushing me back like you said like I want to run and to go and to move forward and it's like oh it's dragging me down so obviously
Yeah.
the baggages or like you mentioned maybe trauma from childhood so
Mhm.
that's really good because some I have the woman in my work and our moms in business. As you know, I work with moms in business, and some of them they're just starting the spirituality journey, and it's beautiful to see. And some others are really, 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 really wow. Even me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish honestly, I this is one of my goals. I really want to go even deeper and to learn even more about this world because I love it. So let's go back into alignment. So we are talking about this energy.
Mhm.
So, what would you say for someone who's just starting now, learning about energy, how they can learn more about implementing and doing it on a daily basis, or just to start using energy as part of their life?
I think probably the best one is maybe starting meditation, probably the better one to do, because that one's a great one for making you feel still, going back into yourself more, and using the breath work as well to basically calm your system down and calm your nervous system down. Because when you're in fight and flight mode, in survival mode, everything's out of whack anyway because you're breathing shallow, your head's all over the place, your body's tense as anything. So you're not really gonna feel or get anything beneficial until you calm your whole body down. And breath work's great for doing that. And meditation's great for doing breath work. I ended up using, I think it's an app that is on, I'm not sure if it's on Sony or Android or whatever. I know it's definitely on Apple, called Balance. I think it's free for a year. And that gives you basics of meditation. That actually goes through a whole thing, like a mini course of basics to get you started. And because most people automatically assume that you do meditation, you clear your head out, which is not the case. It's basically learning to let your thoughts come and go. But the more you do that, then you become more in tune because you'll do things like body scans and it'll get you more in tune with how your body feels. And that's a great way then to then figure out how that energy flows through you and how you feel it. So until you start learning to do that, then you'll be able to feel a lot more of yourself as well, because then you'll start understanding, actually, I don't quite, again, like alignment, you don't feel in like you feel like your energy shifted one side or another side, or not quite in the right space. But the more you do it, the more you'll start realizing, actually, no, if I just calm myself down, I can then feel where it is. And then
Mm.
again, I use Insight Timer as another one. That's a great one for doing guided ones that does more energy stuff, so you can start learning how to feel that energy and how to work with it a lot.
Fantastic. I started using, I think, Calm. It was called
Yeah,
Calm.
I've used
Or
that one briefly. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. Now we talked about survival mode. Okay, so like you said, you're really anxious, you're overwhelmed, your thoughts probably are like on autopilot most of the time, and you can't even catch a thought, and it's just going like that, spinning around. Your brain is on fire. You are just angry, frustrated, like nothing goes your way. And yes, you are in that state.
Oh,
And yes, we've been there. We
oh
know.
yes.
We know the drill. Now, tell us alignment. What that actually means for someone. So we talked about survival mode. Now, how a life, a day in the life of someone who is aligned looks like.
You definitely feel lighter as a start off. You feel a lot lighter. You're usually in a good mood. The little things that normally bother you stop bothering you, or if they do come up, you just laugh it off. Like my example is I was trying to get all my washing done one of the days and was waiting for a load to finish. And I got to the washing machine to see that my son had actually changed the dials on the washing machine to just be on spin mode and not on anything else. So my washing didn't get washed. It was literally just rinsed and then that was it. And I'm like, oh no. But instead of being really annoyed at it, which is where I'd normally have gone, I just laughed it off and thought, okay, I'm just gonna have to sit up now and have another half an hour awake, which I didn't really want, but just to get that go through the proper cycle because it was on the wrong one. Uh, That's what I just laughed that off. And you find more opportunities where you start looking more positive on things rather than negatively towards things. So you kind of open more doors for yourself as well. Like you actually look for the opportunities and you so it's like a mindful thing. It's like working with your brain and manifestation and all those other things to go, actually, this is what I want in life. This is where I want to go. And then you make the action steps to walk towards that instead of blaming everyone else for the problems and playing victim mode and, woe is me, the world is against me. You go, it's the complete opposite of that, or massively up the opposite end of the scale.
Ah, your example is beautiful. Share another example for everyone who's listening. Maybe they identify and they are there, or maybe they know someone else who's there. This shift, it's a big life changing from someone who's having a problem, because we all have problems. Let's
Oh,
face
yeah.
it, we all have problems. But what's important is the way you react to your problem. And when
Mm.
you are aligned, when you are true to who you are, not who your mom wants you to be, not who your neighbor,
Mm.
wants you to be, not even who your husband maybe wants you to be. It might just be you. Or if you're a single parent, even you have another reason to believe in yourself even more, right? And to do
Yeah.
everything. So everything flows, like you said. I have to say, yes, I totally agree that. Just think about another example if you have. I'm sure you have thousands of examples.
Oh my
Maybe
God. I
because this
think
is really good.
yeah, the bigger one I think for me was when I first started, I can honestly say, hand on heart, and not proud of it. I used to get quite angry at my son a lot. I mean, everyone knows the toddler speaks of why, answering the same question of why about 50 times. The playing up before going to bed, the playing up before going out everywhere. And one of the big ones that came up is for me is going out. So literally getting out of the house in the morning to just get him to preschool or to nursery, whatever it was at the time. He would constantly faff about and not getting ready. He'd mess about. It would wind me up somewhat chronic to the point where I would probably end up shouting at him when I shouldn't shout at him. It really did used to like get me. I could feel the tension. I ended up working on that because I knew it wasn't a good thing. It wasn't beneficial for me or him because we'd end up leaving the house both stressed out. So I actually went to another coach to help me with this one to get me through it because there's only so much I could do myself. And we identified that it was actually, I thought it was down to the fact that my dad used to like us getting out of the house early, or at least on time every time. And that had been drilled into me and my sister like forever since we were little. And then when I went through the coaching thing with a friend of mine, she asked the right questions and made me realize actually it had stuff to do with that, but not directly. It was actually more to do with the fact that my mom used to faff about when getting ready when we left the house, which meant that my dad would get annoyed because we'd end up leaving late, and therefore my mom used to take the wrath. So I was the one who made the effort to go and help her get ready to get out on time, which I then realised was me sitting there when it got to the point of me feeling frustrated. It was always, why am I the one having to deal with this? Why? And it's because I was the one dealing with that. And when I realised I didn't need that anymore, I'm not doing that anymore. I never needed to do that and let that go. We don't argue in the morning anymore. It doesn't happen. We both pretty much 9 times out of 10 leave the house in a great mood every day because
Wow.
he doesn't. We have the odd occasion when he does mess, but we managed to get through it. And instead of me getting all wound up about it, I try and find alternate ways now to like get him to do what I want him to do, which is get dressed, but make it feel like it's his idea that he wants to get dressed. So, a
Yeah,
bit,
there's a
bit more
game we play.
creative. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make it a bit more creative. Whereas before I'd never would have gone down that route. I would have forced him to get dressed. Now we don't do that anymore, and now it's great.
That's magic. That's phenomenal. Well done for doing that. I'm just so proud of you. And you said you learned how to let it go.
Yeah.
How did you let it go?
Because I realized I didn't need it anymore. When I sat and actually thought about it, it's like I don't need this anymore because I'm not getting my mom ready for getting out anymore. My dad passed about 7 years ago, so I didn't need to worry about that anymore. My mom does her own thing in her own life. And then I had a conversation after I realized this with my mom afterwards. And she kind of cemented it down for me by saying, yeah, I never really was that bothered about your dad getting upset about it. I just like dealt with it and carried on. So I never needed to do it in the first place. I had taken that responsibility on myself and I never needed to. It was like
Which in
something,
so many cases it happens. I
yeah.
heard this so many times. You as a child, you're taking the parent role, even mom or dad, and unfortunately, that's really heavy for you as a child, and you
Yeah.
carry that in your adulthood. So, well done. Wow. I have to say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Good, well done. Yeah. Now, Kelly, before I let you go, can you
Mhm.
please tell me about Sanctuary for the Soul? How did you came up with this idea? Because I think the name is so beautiful and it's saying exactly what you're doing. You're going really deep in their soul. You're really helping them. You're helping them to heal. You're helping them to understand about self-love, self-compassion, understand who they are, what they want to do, what their purpose is. And then transformation happens with the alignment and your spirituality that you are phenomenal. And I'm just so glad. I'm just so glad to have you. How did you come up with that idea? Please tell me more.
Weirdly, the name just came into my head. But the more I thought about it, the more it kind of makes sense because to me, my home is my sanctuary. And I kind of consider it as my, like I say, a sanctuary for my soul. It's my space and my area. And it's like if anywhere to feel safe, then a sanctuary is the best place to feel that safety and helping other people in the spiritual area as well. It's like I wanted to create a space where people feel like their soul is safe and they're in a nice sanctuary, like they've gotten away from all the busy hustle and bustle, the normal life, and they've come to somewhere where their soul can just relax and just chill and they can just be them without any expectations or judgment. You know, it's just to zen out a bit.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. I loved having you part of this project. And it's honestly, it's amazing. And I'm sure we're gonna hear more from you because you are just so incredible. And I love how pure you are. And yeah, you're just who you are, and it's just so nice and naturally. And you make everything to seem so simple. Since I met you, you Honestly, you help me so much to understand that things don't need to be complicated. You can just keep it simple and still shine. And thank you. What will be the last message you like to leave our audience with?
I'd probably say if most people are going with overwhelm and want to get rid of overwhelm, the best thing that's helped me is set yourself 3 tasks for the day and just do those 3 tasks, nothing else. And one thing that you are definitely not going to do. So, like, mine is not use my phone to procrastinate, like the doom scroll thing. But yeah, I normally set 3 tasks a day, and that's literally all I will do. I will not go over or above that. I will probably create one more in my head in case something happens where one of my tasks is something that is beyond my control for cancel, like someone cancels or something, or it doesn't happen for whatever reason. I'll always have one backup. But yeah, three. Just pick three and stick to that, and you'll find that that tends to reduce the overwhelm, and you get that to-do list. You'll still do the to-do list, but you realize that you'll do it better because you're doing it in chunks rather than all of it in one go.
That's phenomenal. And also, what not to do. I love that part because not too many people do that, and that's so needed. Like, I'm not going to blame myself. I'm not going to be criticizing with myself today. I'm not going to be frustrated for any reason. Those things are like, okay, one step at a time.
Yeah, it's usually the
Beautiful.
one thing that is the one habit that stops you from moving forward, is the one that you pick, even if it's something like, I will not drink alcohol today, or I will not watch TV for an hour, or something, like that. The one thing that it's got to be something that stops that movement. Because and doing it for 3 months as well was the best thing for me. I did it for 3 months, like, and you build habit from that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelly. Sanctuary for the Soul. We really appreciate to be here. And whoever is listening, this was all from today from Kelly. Please go on her social medias. I will put all her details in the description and you can find her. Thank you for listening. And we will wait. Just wait for the next episode because Be You podcast it's continuing and we'll have more amazing entrepreneurs, moms in business coming and sharing their expertise and their knowledge. So stay tuned until next time and remember, keep on shining. Bye.